This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hey guys, welcome back to another Junk Journal with Me video. Today's page I feel like turned out so fun and so bright. There's so many different colors and I just love how vibrant it turned out. So I'm really excited to take you along for the process. The ephemera that I have today are these lolly wrappers. These are from my son's first day of school. I have a photo of my daughter in the garden. I also have a little pressed piece of my chain of hearts, which I found in a book, and some packaging from some earrings. As well as that, I have a photo from the carnival back in December. This is some film photos that I just got back. A sticky note with a quote I jotted down when I saw it on a drive, and a little token left over from the carnival as well. Before we get into the process today, I just want to tell you a little bit about Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video. And most likely by now you guys would be familiar with Skillshare, but if not, basically Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes. It's curated specifically for learning, so there's no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes to keep you feeling creative, exploring new skills, and progressing within your existing passions and interests. There's truly something for everyone on Skillshare, with classes in everything from lifestyle and productivity to freelance, marketing, music, art, film, writing, and heaps more. I always tend to get lost within the art and illustration classes, and one I took recently with Kat Cocolette was a different approach to creating repeat patterns in Procreate to what I've done previously. So I've learnt two different methods, both worked okay, but this one was a total lifesaver for me after the update of Procreate because it just works really well and really seamlessly and easily. So that class was called Drawing Seamless Patterns in Procreate plus Professional Surface Design Tips, and I highly recommend that one if you want to learn how to create your own repeat patterns in Procreate. Skillshare is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription, and the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. So thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to the journal with me. So I'm just flicking through my journal and coming to the next page. I've been so far enjoying journaling chronologically in order, but if I ever feel like I want to skip around pages in this journal, I will do so. At the moment, I'm loving how this is turning out, and this page ended up being perfect for the photo that I have today. So it's a picture of my daughter and my niece in a little swan ride at the carnival. So I'm just going to glue this straight down on that paper there with the swan print. So that turned out perfect. I did skip that little narrow page for now, but I am going to use that page in today's process video. I wanted to put the little carnival token along with this photo because they're from the same place, so they kind of go together, and I decided to just sticky tape the token down straight onto the page. I'm just using this clear sellotape and sticking it down in different directions over the page, so hopefully it stays stuck for a long time, but we will just have to wait and see. I just think that's a fun way to stick that down on the page. You can still see through the tape, and so yeah, I just stuck that above the photo. I have this little piece of paper that was sent to me in some Happy Mail, and my idea was to stick this over the page like you can see here, so fold it in half and then glue it over both sides. And to do that, I just glued one side of the page, and then I just stuck one half of the folded piece of paper down over the page, and then I was going to fold it over and glue the other side. But what actually happened was I really liked the way that it looked just as a full page, and it fit perfectly in my journal. It's like the perfect page size for my journal. So I decided in the end just to leave it open and just go with the flow. So even though I liked the idea of folding it over the page, I ended up liking the way it turned out like this. So it's okay to just go with the flow and change your mind and just see how the page evolves. Sometimes you might have an idea that doesn't come to life, or it doesn't seem like the perfect fit. So don't force something just because you had an idea. Allow yourself to be a bit flexible with your ideas and just see where the page takes you. Now I'm going to try and put this little piece of chain of hearts into my journal, and I thought that it could be cool to put that inside this little clear pocket. So this is like a little packaging bag, and I thought this would just protect the chain of hearts. And so I just picked up this piece of scrap paper and I'm cutting that down to fit inside the bag, and then the idea is to stick the chain of hearts onto that piece of paper. slip it inside the little clear pocket, and then attach that to the page somehow. So I did that, and I like how it turned out, but I just couldn't find the perfect place to stick it down yet. So I'm just playing around. I'm trying both sides of the page. One side was yellow and the other side was just like a blank page. That little yellow piece of paper just came from an old book. So I'm just trying to decide how this is going to end up, but at the moment I don't really have a clear plan in mind. I wrote directly on the paper what it was, so a chain of hearts piece. This is one that I cut like a year ago, and I put it into a book that sits on my bookshelf, and the other day I was just looking through the book and I came across it, and I completely had forgotten that I pressed it. So that was just a nice little surprise that I thought belonged in my journal. So I still couldn't work out where I wanted to stick this. It was a really big piece, so it kind of covered up a lot of the page. And I was just so indecisive about it that I decided to just leave it for now and come back to it later. So I think that's a good tip too. If you ever get stuck on something, don't just sit there and like get frustrated with yourself. You'll just end up discouraging yourself and not enjoying the process. So just allow yourself to move on to something else within that journaling process, and then come back to it later and see if you feel differently. So I moved on to the next page, and I have all the other pieces of ephemera here. I also have this little weekly planner sticky note which I got at Kmart, along with some other little label stickers which you saw there. And I'm just trying to work out how I want to attach all these pieces and how I want them to sit on the page. I really liked the way that little earring packaging sat perfectly over that photo. Sometimes when I print photos on my Canon selfie, I want them to be square, and I'll have this little strip on the edge where I could just leave it blank, or I could just insert a little photo and have like a mini photo. So that photo was one of those, and so it just worked out really well that it fit inside that earring packet, and I like how it sort of frames it and pops it off the page. Here's just a little shot of my cat Pepper demanding a head bob, so she always loves to put our foreheads together, and whenever I'm filming or just working in my craft room, she's always right beside me. I do have two other cats, but she's always one that just wants to be beside me down here, and yeah, she's so cute. She loves just pressing her forehead into my forehead, which you can see there. She's very affectionate. So these little lolly wrappers are from like a little care pack that the staff at my son's school gave on his first day of kindy. So it's just like a cutesy little pack that they give that's just like has some tissues and some chocolates and a tea bag and stuff. So I just kept the wrappers and I'm going to stick them on this page. I decided to use one of those weekly sticky notes and just sort of map out what my week looks like this week as well. So just writing out the things that I know for sure that I have on this week. Just keeping it pretty basic, but just gives a nice little insight into what the week looks like for me. I also have there a piece of wallpaper with the horses on it, and I'm thinking that I could add this to the other side of the page to help fill in some space. I know that I'm going to have some blank space on this spread. There's not many patterns, it's a plain page, so I want to add something a bit more interesting to it. And you'll see I'm using my glue stick for pretty much everything in this process. I also used my stapler to reinforce stuff, and then I also used some PVA glue for the heavier stuff. But here you can see I'm thinking about attaching that horsey wallpaper onto the right side of the page, and this is when I'm using some PVA glue for that. And I think a good tip is to allow patterns to speak for themselves and take up space on a page. So it can be a pattern that has like a hidden meaning to it. It can help set the tone of your journaling, or it can just be there because you like it. It's your journal. So that's something that I like to do a lot. I always like to include different patterns that I like just for the sake of me liking them. They don't always have to have like a special meaning or anything to them. You can still include them just because you like them. I just stuck that little sticky note down on the page. And I just wanted to say, in my journals, they're very everyday life. It's pretty boring stuff. So, I mean, it depends on the way that you look at it. I tend to look at my everyday life as the special moments. I've got young children, I guess that helps with that, but pretty much all of the journaling that I put into my journal is just like the everyday things that we do. There's never really that many exciting adventures. So if you learn to look and appreciate the little things in your life, those everyday little things in your life, you'll find that you actually have a lot to journal about. So keeping things like food wrappers or packaging from things that you buy, or like even just remembering things that you see throughout the day that struck you, those are all just everyday normal things that happen to each of us that you can just take the time to remember, appreciate, and put into your journal. I think no one's life is exciting all the time, especially not right now. Right now is kind of a boring time with all of this coronavirus stuff. So if you just learn to recognize that the smaller stuff and realize that it's worthy of being documented too, then I think you'll find much more appreciation for your everyday life. I just added a few of those little Kmart stickers to the page. So there's one with an arrow, and then there's also a little label sticker that I added to the page, as well as a little strip of that leftover yellow paper down the middle just to add that pop of color. And now I'm just filling in some journaling. So I just wrote what those little lolly wrappers were, where they came from, and on the arrow sticker I just wrote this week and pointed it over to the weekly sticky note. I just decided to fill in that last little space with a vintage playing card, and I just stapled that directly down onto the page. It's just like a little playing card picture of a house, which I thought was really cute and kind of goes with that everyday theme that I was talking about before. Now I'm just moving back to the previous page to finish up what I had started before with the chain of hearts. I liked the way it looked actually with the yellow paper and the chain of hearts facing down. So this is going to become a fold out on this page. So I'm just taking some wide washi tape, this is from Washi Wednesday, and just adding it to the edge of the page so that it can become a flip out. And as you can see there, you just open it up, you can see the chain of hearts, and then on the other side of the flip out, I'm thinking I'm going to I need to take a photo of my plant collection and add a photo of that there, because I feel like it kind of goes with that page. So I just added a little sticky note for myself to remind me what I want to put there. And that's another tip, just to leave it for another day. So sometimes you may do so much journaling and then you may come to like a halt where you don't know what to do next, or you can't finish what you want to do next. So it's okay to just stop and leave it for another day. Just do what you can, just do a little bit and come back to it later. The last thing I did was just add a little bit of journaling about the little swan photo on this little journaling card, and I just glued that straight down above that on the page, and all of the pinky tones complement each other really well there as well. And here you can see the finished spread. So I've got to go back and finish that page with the chain of hearts. So like I said, I'm going to put a picture of my plants and I'm going to do some journaling, and then the rest of the pages are complete. So a really simple page here with the swan photo and little token from the carnival, a little bit of journaling to go with it. And then on the next page, I love how this page turned out because of all the colors. Everything looks so bright. It's like there's like every kind of color on this page, but somehow I feel like it works. I don't know, you guys might think it looks busy, it looks cluttered. It kind of does, but I kind of like it. I like all those vibrant colors. So yeah, I really like how this turned out. If you do enjoy these types of videos, make sure you're subscribed, because I share a journaling process video once a week. I hope you guys enjoyed this process video today. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you in my next video.